That right there changed the game for my workflow. So hopefully this all makes sense in terms of using these tools together, using Linear for project management, using Obsidian for your knowledge base. Again, you can. What up, everybody? My name is Maestro Stevens with Iconic Templates. And in this video, I want to show you a workflow that I have now adopted. It is my favorite workflow that I've ever had before, and it's using primarily two tools. And the workflow consists of project management and knowledge base, right? That is the key thing. So without any further ado, let's just get right in it. What you see right here is a project management tool called Linear. Now, you can use whatever tool you want to use, okay? The thing that I want you to understand is I'm striving to teach you all concepts, showing you the tools that I use, but you can take the same concepts as a template and you can apply any tool that you want to use. I'm going to give you the reasons why I do what I do, but you do how you want to do your thing. I'm using Linear, and no, I have not been using Linear for that long. I actually just started using it a few months ago because there's a thing called cost switching. You don't always want to be switching tools like a dog chasing after a squirrel just because it's a new thing. That's going to cost you some money, and that's a real business model bottleneck. However, my new, accommodated way of working is, can I find tools that are similar to what I already use, but will integrate with AI to make it easier for me to handle my business, right? To do my tasks. And Linear so happened to be a highly recommended tool, but also it's a tool that you can find in both Claude and Codex natively. And if you don't want to use their way, you can always use what they call command line interface, the CLI. I'm not going to get deep into that right now, but I'll share with you all what that looks like later. Now, Linear is a project management tool, and the cool part is it has a very generous free tier. Right now, I'm using the free tier, and I don't always recommend just going for the free stuff because it's free. Not at all. Sometimes you need to pay for some stuff and stop being cheap. You know what I'm saying? I know it costs some money, but sometimes you gotta stop being cheap, all right? So what I love about this tool is it works really well. And it reminds me of a tool that I already use for my project management when it comes to my, human team, right? When I work with human beings and people and staff, I usually use ClickUp. Now, ClickUp can do this too, but I like the way Linear is just so simplified. ClickUp has so many things going on. It's kind of like Canva. It started off, pretty basic, which is cool for some, but then it got really complex, which for some people, it's a little bit too much. For some people, it's right on time. It's perfect. Linear has a very generous free plan. I know a lot of y'all love free. And like I said, the cool part about it is it integrates directly within Claude Code or Claude and with ChatGPT or Codex. So let me show you real quick. I have on the left side, Claude. On the right side, I have Codex. And I'm inside of what they call customize. This may be changed when you watch this video. You might be watching this video 6 months from now, a year from now. Realize on this channel, I'm striving to give you the concepts, give you some theory mixed with practicality and application based on my experience, not just what you can do because I heard it through the grapevine. You can watch other channels for that. But when it comes to this situation, right now it's currently called Customize. They moved it, and you can click on the apps here, or you can click this little icon here for what they call connectors. It's the same thing as integrations, right? They just use these different terminologies, and they change them on the whim. Right now it's called connectors. And what's cool about this is Linear is right here. So you have Linear right there when it comes to Claude, and then on Codex, they have plugins. Now, as you can see, they have plugins here too when it comes to Claude, but they don't have connectors right here. You would have to go to MCP in the settings if you wanted to get to what would be considered connectors, because that's what all connectors are using right here. I meant to do this is MCP, and MCP was created by Anthropic. So shout outs to them for that, even though they be on some BS, but I still, rock with the model. Now, I was over here. Let me go backwards, back here. Let's go back to plugins. And then I'm going to type in Linear. And as you can see, it's here. It's right here as well. So that's first and foremost a part of the strategy, a part of the workflow. Can you find tools that integrate natively in your preferred AI tools? Or can you use what they call command line interface, a CLI, which it's still a connection. Both are connections to the tool, but they're just calling the information different ways. I prefer CLI because it uses less tokens, right? So you get more mileage in your scenario. But sometimes I just use the native like connector or MCP as well if I can't do the whole CLI thing. So that's linear project management right there. Boom. That's the first one I want to show you. The second one I want to show you is a tool called Obsidian. This is also free. Now, when I say it's free, I'm not saying it's only free. I'm saying you can use the free plan and you will get really far using the free plan. I believe Obsidian is also for Windows, if I'm not mistaken. Right here, okay, right here. So you can use it for Mac and for Windows, all right? So I know there's two users. I'm a Mac person, but I wanna make sure that I still keep my Windows users involved, even though we know both operating systems have their flaws, right? So Obsidian is basically the knowledge base. So we have a project management system, but we also need a knowledge base. And what I like about Obsidian is it's very AI friendly. You don't have to use it with AI. I don't want you to think that these two tools you have to use with AI, but because I use AI in my workflow and it really helps get things done, I want to make sure I'm organized and I know what's going on. So it's one thing knowing that we have tasks to do, right? They call them issues in linear. It's one thing knowing that we have a task to accomplish. It's another thing to have a knowledge base locally on your computer. We want to have a knowledge base locally on our computer. And if you have used like Claude or ChatGPT, they also have knowledge bases. Those would be in the projects, right? But I wanted a local knowledge base on my computer that I can keep adding that doesn't have to touch the internet. That's the cool part about it, okay? And that's what Obsidian does. I really like it that way. And it uses MD files, markdown files, that are basically documents of information that you have. And the way that you use it is up to you. It's up to you how you want to use it. I'm just giving you my thoughts, right? And my experience. So that way maybe you can template from that and then customize it from there. But that's why I use Obsidian, okay? So again, oh, this is interactive too. That's kind of cool. Oh, that's dope. That's dope. I like the fact that one is my knowledge base. The other is my project management system. Okay. That's the key word that I'm sharing with you in this workflow. And I'm telling you, it's so powerful. I've gotten so much done with this. And I'm not the only one using this workflow. Others are using this too. I'm surprised more people don't know about it. That's why I'm like, let me do a video on it. Okay. So we have that. Now let me show you what that looks like in the apps themselves. So the left side, we have linear. On the right side, we have Obsidian, and they're sitting side by side right now, okay? And when it comes to linear, we can see here, if I click the menu open, sidebar here, you see we have issues, projects, and views. And remember, with linear, you get two teams on the free plan. So one, I'm using my business kind of overall stuff, everything I do with business. And then the other one I use for my personal stuff, okay? So these are two different things. I'm not gonna show the personal stuff, but the business I'm more transparent about because, hey, I ain't worried about it. Haters gonna hate, people gonna judge, they gonna do what they gonna do, but I wanna show you the truth, okay? No Paul Pierce if you are a basketball fan. So issues are basically the tasks, right? They call them issues, but they are tasks. Projects, you can then group, just like you would have projects on your computer, projects in Claude, projects in Codex. You have projects inside of your tool. So the project can be an app, the project can be an event, the project can be your business. It can be whatever you want it to be, right? That's the key thing. You can separate things by project. So you have one team and then you have different projects in the team. And inside your different projects, you have your different issues. So hopefully that makes sense. Inside your projects, you have your different issues, okay? So right now you are seeing on the left side, all the issues. Then you see what's active. The interesting thing is when it's in the issues, all issues, it's a list, like a listicle. And then here we have like the Kanban board style of things, which you can change, but this is the way that it shows by default. And then we have a backlog, what's been done. This, when I tell y'all, it's so important for your AI. If you're using AI agents, more specifically, when I say AI, I'm hoping you understand, I mean agents at this point. We ain't talking about chatbots, right? We're talking about agents. If you're using the agents, you want the agents to have as much context as possible. What we did, when we did it, and what was done, you know what I'm saying, within the time frame. Not just what we did in terms of the task, but what's inside the task. So to me, That is the same thing that you would do if you were starting a business or you had a company and you have a team. You need your team, like your agents, you have to think of them as a team. Even though they're not human, you got to think of them that way. How can they stay organized on what was done, what needs to be done? Okay, those are key things that you have to understand. And what's currently being done, right? Which is active, okay? And then on the right side, we have we have Obsidian. And so with Obsidian, right now, you can see I'm using my Vault called Maestro AI operating system. That's what Obsidian, the way that Obsidian groups your different, well, they call them vaults. I don't know how to say it. We can say how they group their different teams. You can say vaults would be Obsidian. Remember, Obsidian and Linear both have free plans. I'm using the free plans of both these tools. And when you open up Linear, Obsidian, I keep getting them backwards because I'm talking about two tools at the same time. When you open up Obsidian, it's not gonna look like this. You have to build this up yourself, right? It's gonna give you an example or a demo, and then you go from there. But that's why I said if I show you this transparently, it can give you some ideas, and then you can, like I said, template that, copy it, and then customize it the way that you wanna customize it. So here I have archive, I have assets, daily notes, ideas, my inbox, projects, reference, research, templates, what's to be deleted, right? To be deleted before we actually delete it, and then start here. Start here is obvious. This is where I want the AI every time it goes to fetch or it goes to look at what's in our vault, our Obsidian vault. When it looks in it, I want it to start here so it knows the lay of the land. It knows the rules to follow. I even got it down to where if I say the term, because I was a fan of, what is that show called? Mandalorian. And I love it when they would say, I have spoken. So when I say I have spoken to the AI, it knows that's a hard rule. Like it just knows that, and I have that in my rules. And I have the agent start path and the vault structure and all these other things right here too, okay? And so that's the key thing, right? I'm not gonna go through all of it because I know this video can be really, really long. Now, if you're wondering, okay, so I see it in the app, but how does it look when it's on your computer? Well, when it's on your computer, what you want to do is you want to create a folder, and you point that folder to the vault. That's why I said I have a folder here, AI operating system, and my vault is called the same thing, right? I created a folder, and then you would go to manage vaults, and then you would point the vault to the folder. So that way they are synced and connected. And every time you create something in here, vice versa, it updates in real time. So as you can see here, if I open this up, we have archive, assets, daily notes, ideas, inbox, projects. We have the same thing that we have here, as you can see. And for instance, daily notes, I make sure I create a folder called daily notes, and in daily notes, every single day, the AI is updating what we've done. That's why you see it just like this, okay? Every single day. And that's really key. That's key. Then we have assets here. Well, I don't have anything in my assets yet. I still have that locally. Projects, we have projects here. Mission control, as you can see here. Now, some of this, I created this when I was using OpenClaw and I had a Mac Mini. And then I said, you know what? I didn't like going through all this troubleshooting stuff. And at the same time, Claude and Codex was catching up, right, in terms of the AI agent's capabilities. So I let go of the OpenClaw for now until they polish it up because I didn't like having to keep doing troubleshooting. I don't have time for that when it comes to, where old girl at?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I ain't got time for it when it comes to me striving to stay focused in my workflow, okay? So that's something right there that I want you to know. Remember, everything you see here is also going to be in here as well. The daily notes, we have May, and these are markdown files. That's the key thing about Obsidian is it's using markdown files, and AI likes to read markdown files way more than it likes to read PDFs, documents, and spreadsheets, right? They're even saying now I'm not sure whether they're gonna be 5 months from now, 6 months from now, 3 months from now, that HTML is really good too, but that's usually best for humans because it gives you visual, and keep the markdown for the AI. Markdown files, I'm telling you, this is a gem of a creme de la creme golden nugget. It will save you so much tokens if you use markdown files when you give to the AI to read stuff, and stop giving it Word documents because it's using way more tokens to, how do I say, convert that. It has to convert that over, okay? So that's key thing right there too. Now, one cool feature I like about Obsidian, I said it right this time, all right? One key feature I like about it is it creates this graph, and this graph, it doesn't look like this when you first start, not at all. But what's cool is the more documents you make, move it right here. The more documents you make, let me open this up wide. Open up wide. The more documents you make, the more nodes or dots or circles you're gonna see, or orbs, if you wanna call them orbs, right? The more you're going to see. And each one of these, if I click it, it's going to open up the document. But you see there's connections. What are these things, these lines? Why are these lines connecting to another orb or another node? Well, that's because inside of, and I'm probably going to have to show you all one real quick. Boom. So inside of every single MD file, I have a structure. There's structure and markdown data, and there's metadata, right? That's why you see this highlighted, because it's telling this particular document or file, this connects with something else, right? And so that's one of the key things you have to do. Now, like I said, this did not come out the box. I had to tell the AI tool, hey, let's create a format and then copy that format, like the title, the type, created. So that way this metadata, I can use this across the board. And once we did that, we just copied it everywhere. So every single thing has some kind of format. I gotta fix some of these things up, but every single one of these things has some kind of format. For instance, if I go to my daily note and go here, we see these, what are called hyperlinks, right? This is how I'm getting these connections here, these nodes being connected. That's exactly how I'm getting it. The nodes being connected. Now, I have to update some of this because I didn't add the format to all these. Sometimes it forgets, so I have to remind it, hey, make sure that you add my properties, to each document, but that's neither here nor there. I just want to show you all, that's how you do that. That's how you connect. I love this because it reminds me of like a brain, a central node of a brain. And the cool thing too about this is you can open this and then you can change if you want to add arrows. See how you can have arrows? You can change the node size a little bit right here. I think this is just so cool so you can visualize how everything connects. That's to me, that's the main point of this, is just to visualize how everything connects. But the beauty of this app is this is your knowledge base. And my workflow is every time I create a task, right? I have the AI make a note in the task, a note that links over to my knowledge base. Because sometimes you don't want to put all the information on the task itself, right? These tasks, it can get really big on information. You want to put just enough and then link that to the knowledge base, right? And it will put a link in there and then it'll go over here. I'm telling y'all, this has changed my workflow so much. So that way, when I'm moving on to new stuff or I forgot stuff, the AI itself doesn't forget everything, right? I don't have to start over from scratch. You just got to get used to that workflow. Another tip is put this inside of your global instructions. Each one of these platforms have some kind of instructions. I'm not going to go deep into it, but they have instructions in your personalization. Claude has it as well, and the settings where you can tell it, hey, and this is global. This is your global instructions. Remember, every project has a project-based instructions. Claude has Claude.md, and then Codex has an agents.md file. I'll share that in another video. Won't get too deep, but you can tell it, hey, every single time we do a task or I do something in the chat, make sure to make a task for it. I always tell it, make a task for it. It makes a task, it gives it a number, and then make sure that you update the daily notes. That right there changed the game for my workflow. So hopefully this all makes sense in terms of using these tools together, using Linear for project management, using Obsidian for your knowledge base. Again, you can use an alternative tool if you want to. You do not have to use Linear. You can use whatever tool that works in your workflow. But I'm telling you, this right here, it has a lot of benefits that go with it. I think what Linear did is really good. They really did optimize their project management system to work directly with agents. That's why I like their tool. And for the other part too, if the connectors don't work, remember, you can always use CLI. All you need to do is ask the agent, ask Codex or ask Claude Code, hey, does this tool have a CLI? Can we build a CLI? And then once it starts to build it, it will probably ask you to authenticate the app. So you have to authenticate it. It can't do it itself. Once you authenticate it, it works. there, now you have your integration and it'll be happening in the background. All right. That's pretty much it, y'all. I wanted to show you how you can get down with a smooth operator, a smooth workflow when it comes to your project management and it comes to your knowledge base, and how those two connections work together to give you a optimal workflow in your AI management day-to-day projects or tasks. My name is Maestro Stevens with Iconic Templates, and I'm out. Peace.